I live alone on 15 acres of dusty Texas land, the kind of space where silence becomes your closest neighbor and even the wind feels like it asks permission before crossing the fence line. For 12 years, I had peace. No HOA letters tucked under my windshield, no clipboard warriors pacing my driveway, no ridiculous fines for the color of my barn door. Just me, my horses, a creaky old barn, and the kind of freedom I spent 20 years in the Navy fighting to earn. That peace ended. On a Tuesday morning, the air smelled like hay and diesel, a routine morning, nothing more. I had just tipped the feed bucket for the horses when I heard the low, mechanical rumble of a truck I didn't recognize. It wasn't the neighbor's tractor, it wasn't the FedEx guy, and it sure as hell wasn't anything that belonged on my land. It had that official, municipal sound to it, like it thought it owned whatever ground it rolled across. I stepped around the barn and froze. There it sat, squatting on the southeast corner of my land like some steel tumor, a giant bright dumpster, fresh paint, HOA logo slapped on the side, parked neat as a pin inside my fence line. My brain stalled. I blinked, then blinked again, as if staring long enough might turn it into a hallucination. But it didn't vanish. It just sat there, humming with authority it didn't have. I pulled out the laminated plat map I keep in my mudroom, proof of every inch I own. That corner was mine. Surveyed, recorded, taxed. No easements, no servitudes, no handshake deals. My land, bought and paid for. And yet there it was, a dumpster telling me otherwise. I did the obvious thing, called the number stenciled on the side. Some chirpy woman answered, voice sugar-coated but with that undertone of boredom only a cubicle can breed. I gave her the serial number and told her flat out, that dumpster is on private land, remove it. She put me on hold. When she came back, her tone was extra polite, like she'd just found out I wasn't on the guest list. Sir, it's listed as Prairie Oaks HOA's designated collection zone. Was it not donated? Donated, I nearly choked. Lady, I didn't donate so much as a beer bottle to Prairie Oaks. That's my ranch, not your landfill. She promised to notify dispatch. Nobody came. The next day the dump began. First cardboard boxes, then trash bags tied in cheerful pink knots. By Thursday, a family SUV pulled up, popped its tailgate, and tossed a broken Christmas tree into the bin like they'd been doing it for years. I stormed down the fence line and stopped the woman unloading. Mid-40s, yoga pants, a live, laugh, love sticker plastered across her rear window. Ma'am, this is private property. You can't dump here. She looked me up and down like I was the crazy one. It's the community dumpster, she said, waving vaguely. Karen said this area was donated. I didn't know who Karen was yet, but I already hated her. By Friday, it escalated. A teenager in a beat-up truck shouted, "Nice landfill, old man," as he hurled a bald tire into the weeds. Saturday, I spent hauling their trash back into the bin, cursing under my breath while wearing gloves and a wheelbarrow. By Sunday night, I'd already paid a private haul of $500 out of pocket just to empty the damn thing. I tried logic, posted bright red signs, private property, no dumping, trespassers will be prosecuted. I even added one in neon paint. Illegal dumping is not community service, but the trash kept coming. The signs may as well have been invitations. Then she arrived. A white luxury crossover glided up to my gate like it was entering a parade route. The door opened and out stepped a woman whose haircut alone screamed authority. Blonde bob sharp enough, two-slice sheet metal, beige pantsuit, clipboard in hand, heels clicking on gravel like a judge entering her courtroom. She didn't knock, she didn't ask. She just walked right up to me. "You must be Mr. Carter," she said, as though we had a meeting scheduled. Karen Blake, president of the Prairie Oaks Homeowners Association. And just like that, hell had a name. Karen didn't waste time. She flipped through the pages on her clipboard and handed me a black and white site plan. Neat lines, shaded corners, and right there my shaded corner labeled shared sanitation point. "According to our updated developmental zoning overlay," she said. Voice calm as a priest reading scripture. "This parcel is transitional buffer space. Community use until reclassification." I stared at her like she'd just declared herself Queen of Texas. "You do realize none of those words mean this is your land, right?" She smiled politely, like I'd told a joke at my own expense. The community voted unanimously. Sometimes progress requires flexibility. That word progress rattled in my skull long after she drove off. Progress to them meant theft to me. The next morning, a man in a neon vest strolled my fence line with a tablet, snapping photos. "Who are you?" I shouted. He didn't flinch. "Community compliance," he yelled back, before vanishing. That afternoon, a neighbor I barely knew mentioned casually, "Heard you volunteered your land for sustainability." "Flyers said so." I nearly dropped my coffee. Flyers. Sure enough, stuffed in my mailbox was a glossy sheet. "Meet your local environmental hero. John Carter opens land for cleaner living." My photo, stolen from an old newspaper article about my rainwater system, slapped next to the HOA logo. My hands shook. I raced to my security cameras, combing through footage. That's when I saw it. A man in HOA gear installing a tiny black camera inside the dumpster lid. They weren't just dumping trash, they were surveilling me. That night, I yanked the lid open, ripped the device out, and sat at my desk watching the footage. Hours of neighbors unloading garbage, a woman flipping me off, kids laughing as they tossed in beer bottles, and then me shoveling spilled trash back in, muttering curses that, taken out of context, could make me sound unhinged. This wasn't incompetence. This was strategy. Manufacture chaos, paint me the villain, then bury me in paperwork. But they underestimated me. The next day, I planted roses, then flamingos, then a plastic gnome giving the finger. I strung solar lights, added a plaque, historic site, expansion of arrogance and entitlement. I even wired a motion sensor to blast Beethoven's Ninth Symphony whenever someone came near. The dumpster garden was born. Within a week, drone footage of my creation went viral in local Facebook groups. Some called me a genius, others thought I'd lost my mind. I didn't care. Let them laugh. Every laugh was daylight on their lies. But HOA wasn't laughing. A letter arrived from my insurance company citing high-risk conditions and flammable, refuse near livestock. Attached was a zoomed photo of the gnome. They were weaponizing my own satire against me. That same evening, a man in a collared shirt pulled up and began measuring my fence line with a laser tool. I filmed him in silence. Every visit, every flyer, every rat scurrying under the dumpster went into a folder I labeled simply HOA War. When they tried to crush me with paper, they forgot one thing. I had paper too, and I knew someone who could use it like artillery. Her name was Sandra Louise. Sandra didn't even let me finish my rant on the phone. "Bring me everything," she said, her tone sharp as barbed wire. "Maps, deeds, footage, invoices, the insurance letter, even the gnome photo. We'll bury them in their own nonsense." By the end of the week, I had delivered a binder thicker than a book. She flipped through each page with the calm patience of someone who'd gutted bureaucrats for breakfast. "They forged a zoning overlay," she muttered, "filed it as if approved when it wasn't. That's fraud." I could hear something new in her voice. Satisfaction, like she'd been waiting for a case exactly this stupid to fall into her lap. While Sandra filed motions, the HOA escalated. New flyers blanketed the neighborhood. HOA under attack, rogue landowner endangers community health. One had a blurry photo of me holding a trash bag, captioned militant response to peaceful waste management. Another claimed my unauthorized structures posed a fire risk. The calls poured in. Fire marshal, county code inspector, even animal control. Each visit wasted my day, each one leaving behind a clipboard note hinting that maybe I was the problem but I didn't break. I filmed them all, uploaded copies to cloud storage, logged times, dates, license plates. Every knock on my door was another nail for Sandra's courtroom coffin. Then came the counterpunch. Sandra filed a civil encroachment suit demanding removal of all unauthorized installations within 10 days or face injunctive relief. Trespass, nuisance, defamation, harassment, the full kitchen sink. Karen's lawyer, a slick silk-tie banker's son named Philip Mays, fired back with a They accused me of harassment, of intimidation, of violating residents' privacy with my cameras. Sandra laughed so hard she nearly choked on her coffee. "They're arguing that filming trespassers on your own land violates their privacy." Perfect. That's not just weak, it's insulting. Still, the trash kept piling. Rats nested under the dumpster fence, gnawing at my pasture roots. I shelled out another $400 for pest control. My insurance premium tripled under pending investigation. It wasn't just harassment anymore. It was siege warfare, and I knew how to outlast a siege. The courtroom smelled of old wood and toner, justice baked into the air like dust into sun-bleached denim. The judge, a wiry man with a bald head and eyes sharp as razors, took his seat without ceremony. Sandra didn't smile. She didn't need to. Her 4 color-coded binders sat stacked like artillery shells. Karen sat 3 rows back, dressed in funereal black, flanked by 2 nervous board members and Mays, her snake of a lawyer. They still wore the smug faces of people convinced money could rewrite maps. Sandra rose. "Your Honor, Prairie Oaks HOA has knowingly trespassed, defamed, surveilled, and harassed my client. They fabricated zoning overlays, installed cameras without consent, and distributed fraudulent flyers, all to justify an illegal dumpster on private land." Then she hit play. Video 1. The dumpster truck rolling onto my property, dropping steel on my grass. Video 2. Residents dumping garbage, laughing, shouting insults. Video 3. The hidden camera inside the dumpster lid, installed by HOA staff. Karen's jaw tightened. Knuckles white on her clipboard, Sandra turned pages, one after another. The forged plat map, the insurance letter featuring my gnome, flyers, proclaiming me an environmental hero. The C. Sandersist accusing me of harassment, each one stacked like bricks in a wall they could never climb over. Witnesses testified, a neighbor who'd been told I volunteered my land, an old rancher with aerial photos from the 90s showing my fence line intact, even a former board member who quit after realizing the group had been approving documents before they were legal. Mays tried to argue community necessity. The judge cut him off. Are you suggesting your client acted on approvals that do not exist? Mays stammered. The judge waved him down. That'll be all. Finally, Sandra unveiled the piece de resistance Exhibit G, the gnome. She set the plastic figure on the evidence table with the fire hazard letter attached. The courtroom laughed. The judge didn't. His face carried the weariness of a man who'd seen one HOA scam too many. The verdict came swift. The HOA was guilty of trespass, nuisance, defamation, and harassment. They were ordered to remove the dumpster and fence within 72 hours. $65,000 in damages awarded to me. $10,000 penalty to the waste contractor. Karen Blake personally fined. $25,000 and barred from holding HOA office for 10 years. The judge's words cut the air clean. You cannot vote on what you do not own. For the first time in weeks, I exhaled. They tore out the dumpster like it had never been there. The land beneath looked wounded, grass dead, soil dented, roses crushed, but it was mine again. Mine and breathing. Sandra called the next day. Funds transferred, $65,000 in your account, lunch on you. My insurance company reinstated my old premium with a letter of apology signed by 3 executives. I framed it in my bathroom for poetic justice. Karen resigned at 3 a.m. Her goodbye, nothing more than an email. I will not participate in this circus any longer. Her house hit the market days later. Rumor said she'd taken a corporate job in Houston. Fitting, she always loved pretending to be in charge. The HOA shrank into silence. Forums locked. Website under reconstruction. A retired teacher named Bill knocked on my door with an apology letter and a homemade lemon pie. I accepted both, but the best moment came weeks later. The roses bloomed where the dumpster once squatted. My gnome still stood, flipping the bird proudly beneath solar fairy lights. The neighbors gathered for a barbecue, the festival of freedom from HOA tyranny. Ribs smoked, beer flowed, and someone gifted me a cedar plank burned with the words, "Here once stood the HOA waste altar." Reporters asked for advice. I kept it simple. Get cameras, keep receipts, don't let anyone call your land a suggestion. As the bonfire crackled and a bad local band strummed out of tune, a little girl tugged my sleeve. My mom says that's the brave gnome who beat the garbage queen. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my drink. Later, in the quiet of dawn, I walked to the fence line, clinging to the grass, the air cool and clean. No trucks, no flyers, no rats. Just peace. I looked down at the cedar sign glowing in morning light and whispered to myself, next time, they better bring 2 dumpsters then. I chuckled, turned on my heel, and went to feed the horses.